What if I told you that right now, at this very moment, you're traveling through space at 67,000 miles per hour, spinning on a world that's hurtling around a star, that's racing through a galaxy, that's rushing toward an unknown cosmic destination? What if I told you that every breath you take contains atoms that were once part of other human beings who lived centuries ago? That the iron in your blood was forged in the explosive death of a star that died before our sun was born, and that your existence is so improbable, so cosmically unlikely, that mathematically speaking you shouldn't be here at all? Carl Sagan tried to warn us about something profound, something that could change the entire trajectory of human civilization, but most people turned away, distracted by the noise of daily life, missing the most important message our species has ever received. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff overlooking the Pacific Ocean, feeling overwhelmed by the vast expanse of water stretching to the horizon, only to realize that this entire ocean, this entire planet, this entire solar system is nothing more than a grain of sand on an infinite beach. Picture the moment when you truly comprehend that your personal dramas, your career anxieties, your political disagreements are all playing out on a stage so small that from just a few billion miles away, Earth disappears entirely into the cosmic dark. This isn't meant to make you feel insignificant. It's meant to awaken you to the most extraordinary truth about existence. We are the universe becoming conscious of itself, and that consciousness carries both infinite wonder and infinite responsibility. Dr. Carl Edward Sagan spent his life as a cosmic messenger, trying to shake humanity awake from its planetary slumber. He understood something that threatens every comfortable assumption we've made about our place in existence. We are not separate from the cosmos. We are not observers looking up at the stars from the outside. We are the cosmos looking at itself through human eyes. Every carbon atom in your DNA was cooked in the interior of a dying star. Every calcium atom strengthening your bones was manufactured in stellar furnaces that burned for millions of years before Earth existed. Every oxygen molecule you breathe connects you to every living thing that has ever lived, creating an unbroken chain of breath that stretches back to the first organisms that learned to extract life from sunlight and air. But here's where Sagan's warning becomes urgent, almost prophetic in its implications. We have become the first species in the history of our planet to possess the power to completely alter the conditions that created us, yet we remain largely unconscious of our cosmic context. We have developed technologies that can split atoms and merge genes, that can send messages across the globe in seconds and peer into the hearts of distant galaxies, yet we still think and act as if we're living on a flat Earth, under a dome of stars put there for our entertainment. We have gained godlike powers over matter and energy, while retaining the tribal instincts of creatures who evolved to compete for resources on a continent that seemed infinite to our ancestors. This disconnect between our cosmic capabilities and our provincial consciousness is what Sagan identified as the greatest threat to human survival. We live in a civilization utterly dependent on scientific discoveries. Every GPS system relies on Einstein's theories of relativity. Every computer chip depends on quantum mechanical principles. Every vaccine requires understanding of evolutionary biology. Yet we increasingly distrust the methods that produce this knowledge. We use satellites to communicate while denying climate science. We rely on nuclear medicine while ignoring nuclear physics. We benefit from genetic therapies while rejecting genetic evidence for our shared evolutionary heritage. Consider the breathtaking reality of your current situation. You are riding on a blue marble that contains every known example of life in the universe, spinning through an apparently infinite void at speeds that would disintegrate any human-made vehicle, protected by an atmosphere so thin that if Earth were the size of an apple, our breathable air would be thinner than the apple's skin. This atmosphere has been precisely calibrated by billions of years of biological processes to maintain the exact chemical composition needed for complex life. Change the oxygen concentration by a few percentage points and everything burns or suffocates. Change the carbon dioxide levels beyond certain thresholds, and the delicate greenhouse effect that keeps us warm becomes a runaway furnace that makes the planet uninhabitable. Yet we are changing these ancient atmospheric recipes with the casual confidence of someone rearranging furniture in their living room, seemingly unaware that we're performing surgery on the only life support system available to us within trillions of miles. Sagan saw this disconnect between our cosmic situation and our planetary behavior as a kind of species-wide sleepwalking, a failure to grasp the implications of our own scientific discoveries. He warned that a civilization that develops the power to alter its environment faster than it develops the wisdom to understand the consequences of those alterations is a civilization in extreme danger. The pale blue dot photograph, taken by Voyager 1 in 1990 from nearly 4 billion miles away, was Sagan's attempt to give humanity a cosmic mirror, to show us how we actually appear from the perspective of deep space. In that image, Earth occupies less than a pixel, suspended in a sunbeam containing every human drama that has ever unfolded, every war ever fought, every love story ever lived, every scientific breakthrough ever achieved, every work of art ever created, all of it happening on a mote of dust in an ocean of darkness. This wasn't meant to diminish human achievement, but to provide the perspective needed for human survival. The recognition that we are all passengers on the same cosmic vessel, sharing the same thin shell of air and water, completely dependent on each other and on the intricate web of life that sustains us all. The warning Sagan tried to deliver becomes more urgent with each passing year as we develop increasingly powerful technologies while remaining dangerously naive about our cosmic situation. We are living through what may be the most critical moment in human history, the transition from a planetary species that stumbled into consciousness to a cosmic species that chooses its future with full awareness of the stakes involved. This transition requires what Sagan called compassionate skepticism, the ability to question everything while maintaining deep reverence for the magnificent universe that created us, the wisdom to demand evidence while remaining open to wonder, the courage to face reality while nurturing hope for what we might become. Think about the extraordinary series of cosmic accidents that had to align perfectly for you to exist. Our solar system had to form in a region of the galaxy with just the right mixture of heavy elements, created by earlier generations of stars that lived, died, and scattered their enriched ashes into space. Our planet had to condense at precisely the right distance from the Sun, close enough for liquid water, far enough to avoid the runaway greenhouse effect that turned Venus into hell. Earth's early collision with a Mars-sized object had to occur at just the right angle and speed to create our oversized moon, which stabilizes our planet's tilt and gives us regular seasons instead of chaotic climate swings. The emergence of life required lightning or volcanic vents or asteroid impacts to spark the first self-replicating molecules, then billions of years of evolution to develop photosynthesis, which gradually transformed our poisonous early atmosphere into the oxygen-rich environment that makes complex life possible. The evolution of consciousness required countless additional accidents. The right mutations at the right times, the right environmental pressures, the right geological events to push our ancestors toward larger brains and more sophisticated thinking. Every step in this cosmic chain could have failed, and probably did fail on countless other worlds throughout the galaxy, leaving them sterile or populated only by simple organisms that never learned to contemplate their own existence. Yet here you are, a temporary arrangement of atoms that has become aware of atoms, a brief pattern of matter and energy that can contemplate infinity, a cosmic fluke that has developed the capacity to love, to create, to discover the very laws that govern the universe itself. You contain within your brain roughly as many neurons as there are stars in our galaxy, connected in patterns of such complexity that they generate consciousness, self-awareness, the ability to imagine futures that don't yet exist and work toward making them real. This is not a minor development in cosmic history. This is the universe awakening to itself after nearly 14 billion years of unconscious evolution. But awakening brings responsibility. Sagan understood that consciousness is not just a gift, but a test, perhaps the ultimate test, that faces any species lucky enough to develop it. Do we use our growing power over matter and energy to create or to destroy? Do we expand our circle of compassion to include all life on Earth, or do we remain trapped in tribal thinking that sees other groups as enemies rather than fellow passengers on the same cosmic journey? Do we develop the wisdom to live sustainably on our pale blue dot, or do we consume our planetary inheritance in a few centuries of reckless abundance? These are not abstract philosophical questions, They are practical challenges that will determine whether human consciousness continues to exist in this universe or becomes another failed experiment in cosmic evolution. We are currently conducting a real-time test of whether intelligence can evolve fast enough to keep pace with its own power, whether we can develop planetary thinking quickly enough to survive our technological adolescence. The outcome is not predetermined. We could become something magnificent, a species that spreads consciousness throughout the solar system and eventually to the stars, that learns to live in harmony with natural systems, that uses science and technology to reduce suffering and increase wonder for all living beings. Or we could join the countless species that have disappeared from Earth's fossil record, remembered only as a brief experiment in cosmic evolution that couldn't quite master the art of survival. The choice is ours, but only if we make it consciously, with full awareness of our cosmic context and our planetary responsibilities. This is the warning Sagan tried to deliver, that we are at a unique moment in cosmic history when the universe has become aware of itself through human consciousness, but that this awareness could be extinguished if we don't rise to meet the challenges it brings. If you felt something stirring as we've explored these cosmic truths together, if you recognize that understanding our place in the universe isn't just intellectually fascinating but essential for navigating the challenges of existence in the modern world, then you've discovered exactly what this channel is about. This isn't just another YouTube channel talking about space. This is a gathering place for cosmic citizens, for people who understand that science isn't the opposite of wonder, but the deepest form of wonder we've ever discovered. When you subscribe, you're not just clicking a button, you're joining a community of people who believe that cosmic perspective might be the key to human survival, that seeing ourselves as part of something larger could be exactly what we need to solve the problems that threaten our planetary home. Hit that subscribe button because you recognize that these ideas aren't just beautiful abstractions, they're practical wisdom for living meaningfully in an extraordinary universe. And tell me in the comments, what moment in your life has most strongly connected you to the cosmos? Was it looking up at the stars, learning about the vastness of space, or simply pausing to consider the improbable miracle of your own existence? The most dangerous illusion of our time isn't about technology or politics. It's the illusion that we can understand ourselves without understanding the universe that created us. That we can make wise decisions about our future while ignoring the cosmic processes that brought us into existence. Carl Sagan recognized that this disconnect between human consciousness and cosmic awareness represents an existential threat to our species. We have become powerful enough to alter planetary systems while remaining unconscious of our role as cosmic participants. We can split atoms and splice genes while failing to grasp that every atom in our bodies was once part of exploding stars, that every gene in our DNA connects us to every living thing that has ever existed on Earth. This blindness to our cosmic heritage shows up everywhere in modern life. We worry about artificial intelligence taking over human civilization, while failing to appreciate that intelligence itself is the most remarkable phenomenon in the known universe, a property that emerged from simple chemicals through processes so improbable that we're still trying to understand how it happened. We debate whether there's life on other planets while treating the life on our own planet as if it were expendable, forgetting that Earth represents the only known example of a world where matter has organized itself into consciousness, creativity, and compassion. We obsess over stock market fluctuations and celebrity scandals while largely ignoring the fact that we're living through the greatest period of discovery in human history. In the past 3 decades, we've learned that planets are common throughout the galaxy, that water exists on multiple worlds in our solar system, that the universe is expanding at an accelerating rate, driven by mysterious dark energy, that black holes at the centers of galaxies regulate star formation across cosmic distances. We've discovered that time moves differently in strong gravitational fields, that quantum particles exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed, that DNA uses the same chemical code in bacteria and human beings, proving our kinship with all terrestrial life. Each of these discoveries should fundamentally alter how we see ourselves and our place in existence. Yet most people learn about them briefly in news headlines and then return to lives structured around the illusion that we're separate from the natural world, that human affairs are disconnected from cosmic processes, that consciousness is somehow outside the laws of physics rather than their most beautiful expression. This disconnect between our scientific knowledge and our lived experience represents what Sagan saw as a kind of civilizational schizophrenia, a split between what we know intellectually and how we actually behave. Consider what we've learned about time itself. Einstein showed us that time is not a universal constant, but a flexible dimension that can be stretched and compressed by gravity and motion. GPS satellites have to account for the fact that time runs slightly faster in their orbital positions than it does on Earth's surface. The light reaching your eyes from distant stars carries information from years, decades, even millennia in the past, meaning that every night sky is actually a time machine showing us the history of the cosmos. Yet we continue to live as if time was simply a human invention for organizing our schedules, rather than a fundamental aspect of the fabric of reality itself. Or consider what we've discovered about space. The universe is not only bigger than we imagined, it's bigger than we can imagine, containing more galaxies than there are stars in our own galaxy, more stars than there are grains of sand on all the beaches of Earth. The atoms in your left hand came from different stellar explosions than the atoms in your right hand, meaning that you are literally assembled from the scattered remains of ancient suns. The empty space between atoms in your body is proportionally larger than the empty space between stars in our galaxy, meaning that you are mostly nothingness held together by invisible forces that science is still trying to understand. These aren't abstract facts. They're intimate realities about your actual situation as a conscious being in a cosmic environment. Yet most people go through their entire lives without ever integrating this knowledge into their sense of identity, their decision-making processes, their understanding of what matters and what doesn't. We remain psychologically trapped in a pre-scientific worldview where humans are separate from nature, where Earth is the center of everything important, where consciousness is a mysterious accident rather than the universe's method of understanding itself. This psychological disconnection from cosmic reality has practical consequences that Sagan understood would eventually become matters of life and death for our species. Climate change is not just an environmental problem, it's a cosmic problem, representing our failure to understand that we are part of a planetary system that has been precisely calibrated by billions of years of evolution to maintain conditions suitable for complex life. Changing the atmospheric composition that makes Earth habitable is like performing surgery on ourselves while blindfolded, altering systems we don't fully understand with tools more powerful than our wisdom to use them. Nuclear weapons represent another cosmic problem. We have learned to release the same energies that power the sun, but we've attached this cosmic force to tribal emotions evolved for competition over resources on a seemingly infinite continent. We have become capable of creating temperatures hotter than the center of stars, but we use this capability to threaten each other rather than to explore the stars themselves. We can split atoms and release the binding energy that holds matter together, but we cannot seem to develop the wisdom to use this power solely for constructive purposes. The search for extraterrestrial life, which Sagan pioneered, is really a search for cosmic perspective. If we discover that life exists elsewhere in the universe, it will fundamentally change our understanding of our own significance. If life is common, it suggests that consciousness might be a natural outcome of cosmic evolution, making our own consciousness less of a miraculous accident and more of a predictable development. If life is rare, it makes our existence even more precious and our responsibility to preserve it even more urgent. Either discovery would provide the cosmic context we need to see ourselves clearly and make wise decisions about our future. As we approach the climax of humanity's cosmic awakening, we find ourselves facing what Carl Sagan understood might be the ultimate test of intelligence. Can we develop planetary wisdom quickly enough to survive our technological power? This is not a theoretical question for future generations, it's the defining challenge of our time, playing out in real time as we watch. Every day brings new evidence that we are living at a unique moment in cosmic history, when the universe has become self-aware through human consciousness, but when that self-awareness could be extinguished if we don't learn to think and act as cosmic citizens rather than tribal competitors. The Voyager spacecraft that took the pale blue dot photograph is still traveling through space 47 years after its launch, carrying a golden record containing sounds and images from Earth for any extraterrestrial intelligence that might encounter it in the far future. That golden record represents humanity's first conscious attempt to introduce ourselves to the cosmos, to say, we are here, we are aware, We are capable of love and wonder and scientific curiosity. But it also represents a sobering possibility. It might become the only remaining evidence of human consciousness if we fail to meet the challenges that our own intelligence has created. We are currently engaged in what amounts to a cosmic experiment. Can a species that evolved in small groups competing for limited resources learn to cooperate globally to manage planetary systems? Can beings whose brains were shaped by millions of years of evolution on African savannas develop the intellectual and emotional capabilities needed to think in geological time and astronomical space? Can creatures who naturally focus on immediate threats learn to respond rationally to long-term challenges like climate change, biodiversity loss, and the development of artificial intelligence? The early results of this experiment are mixed, but they are not hopeless. We have demonstrated remarkable capacity for cooperation when we understand the stakes clearly. The response to the COVID-19 pandemic, despite its political complications, showed that humans can develop, manufacture, and distribute medical solutions on a global scale in record time when faced with a clear and present threat. The international cooperation that created the Internet, the space station, and the global communication networks shows that we can work together across national boundaries when we recognize our common interests. But we have also demonstrated a disturbing capacity for denial when faced with challenges that require long-term thinking and global cooperation. Climate change represents exactly the kind of test that Sagan worried we might fail. A problem caused by the cumulative effects of seemingly reasonable individual choices, requiring coordinated global action based on scientific evidence rather than immediate personal experience, demanding sacrifices from the present generation to benefit future generations who cannot vote or speak for themselves. The solution, Sagan believed, lies in developing what he called cosmic perspective, the ability to see ourselves as we actually are. Planetary beings sharing a cosmic oasis, temporary arrangements of stellar material that have become conscious and therefore responsible for the future of consciousness itself. This perspective doesn't diminish human importance. It reveals human importance on the largest possible scale. We are not insignificant specks in an indifferent universe. We are the universe's method of understanding itself, perhaps the only such method within billions of light years. Every choice you make carries cosmic significance because you are participating in the ongoing experiment of consciousness in the universe. When you choose curiosity over certainty, evidence over ideology, compassion over competition, you are helping the cosmos evolve toward greater awareness, greater beauty, greater capacity for wonder. When you recognize that the person you disagree with most strongly is made of the same stellar material as you are, sharing the same improbable journey from cosmic dust to conscious awareness, you are practicing the kind of humility that Sagan believed was essential for cosmic citizenship. This doesn't mean becoming passive or accepting injustice. It means understanding that all human problems are ultimately cosmic problems, requiring solutions that honor both our shared origins and our shared destiny. Racism becomes absurd when you realize that all humans share common ancestors who lived in Africa just a few 100,000 years ago, an eye blink in cosmic time. Nationalism becomes problematic when you understand that all nations exist on the same small planet, sharing the same thin atmosphere and depending on the same intricate web of life for survival. Religious conflicts become tragic when you grasp that all human spiritual experiences are variations on the same theme, consciousness trying to understand its place in a mysterious and magnificent universe. The most profound spiritual practice available to modern humans might be the regular contemplation of our actual cosmic situation. We are made of atoms forged in stellar furnaces, living on a planet that orbits one star among hundreds of billions in a galaxy that is one among trillions in an expanding universe whose origin and ultimate fate remain mysterious. We have somehow emerged from this cosmic process as beings capable of love, creativity, scientific discovery, and moral reasoning. We are, in every literal sense, the universe becoming aware of itself. This awareness brings both incredible privilege and incredible responsibility. We are the first generation of humans to see our entire planet from space, to understand our evolutionary history, to recognize our kinship with all life on Earth, and to possess the technological capability to either destroy or protect the biosphere that gave us birth. The decisions we make in the next few decades will determine whether cosmic evolution continues through human consciousness or whether we become another cautionary tale in the history of intelligence in the universe. If this journey through cosmic perspective has moved something deep within you, if you feel called to live as a conscious participant in the universe's ongoing story rather than as an unconscious consumer of its resources, then you've found your cosmic family here. This channel exists to nurture the kind of wonder and wisdom that Carl Sagan believed might be our species' greatest hope for survival and flourishing. When you subscribe and engage with this community, you're not just watching videos. You're participating in humanity's attempt to develop the cosmic perspective we need to navigate the challenges ahead. Share in the comments what cosmic perspective means in your daily life, what questions about our place in the universe inspire your sense of wonder, what topics you'd love us to explore as we continue this cosmic conversation together. Remember, you are made of star stuff. You are a way for the cosmos to know itself, and your consciousness is one of the most precious and improbable developments in the history of the universe. Let's make sure it continues.